It's really interesting conversation though, and I really do appreciate your perspectives on this. You always have interesting perspectives on things like this. It's exactly why I wanted to do this interview. It's something I could talk about all day.
Yeah, AI and Epstein, man.
AI and Epstein. I mean, we can go into Epstein next.
I was kind of joking. It's just so disgusting. God. Okay, Epstein. Here's my thoughts. I don't think that Trump is okay. What I don't think is happening, but I'm like, is Trump on the list? And did he kill Epstein? What the fuck is going on right now? Like, or is it just geopolitical scheming? And he's like, we can't unveil it because it'll blow the lid off everything, and we're not going to tell them that we're not going to do it because it'll blow the lid off everything. But maybe anyway, that's all I had to say about that.
I mean, I'm in agreement. I think that the files are obviously real. The way they're handling is terrible. It is terrible. What I tweeted out about it was it's interesting that Epstein died under Trump's administration, and now the case is dying under his second administration. It's just interesting. It's interesting how that's playing out. I don't think Trump is implicated in any way. What I actually believe, I'll give my honest opinion on it. What I actually believe is that he does have access to the list, but because of his ambitions with making America great again, releasing that list will destroy all ambitions of that. And depending on how far you think it extends, it would likely start World War III, which would also bring America into turmoil. So I think he just doesn't want to be the person to do it. He wants to be the person that makes America great again. He does not want to be the person that released the Epstein files and destroyed the country, which I don't agree with that stance. I just think that's where he's at.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's America's duty. Like, it's not just the American government. That ring was like multinational thing, and I don't know why we would put it at the feet of the people in the American government and be like, "It's your job." Like, bro, maybe it's the King of England's job. Like, what do you get off my back? And another thing I'm thinking about, talking about. I went for a long. My friend in like middle school said talking. He would say the N. He wouldn't put the G at the end. So I started doing that, and I realized I got to get back to saying talking like normal, like use the G. Is talking about my conspiracy potentials online is very different than talking about them offline, because just putting the idea out there can cause severe diplomatic damage. Just floating the idea, and for so long, especially with like war and talking about like military strikes and like I don't know. So I'm pretty
conflicts in general.
Tepid about making claims, particularly making claims without evidence. I'm not going to do that, but just even joking about it, it's so touchy.
Making assumptions,
that World War III thing's no joke. If it did blow the lid off of like an international banking cartel that was based out of Switzerland, and all the 12 richest families on Earth felt threatened,
and whatever else,
you don't think nukes would fly? Like, that is the main reason for nuclear war, would be to protect those families trying to protect themselves. I don't know if it's just families, but it's like to keep humanity in the dark. Like, how much darkness would you put them in? Like, would you knock out all the electrical power to keep them in the dark? I think some people would. So I don't know, man. It's like scratching at a fucking cage where I hear a lot of rumbling in there, and I don't really think necessarily opening the cage is the best idea.
Yeah, we all want to open the cage, but we don't know what the repercussions of opening the cage are. But we all believe that the repercussions of opening the cage aren't enough to not open the cage. So it's like,
well, I don't know if I don't know
screaming,
about
that. Open it. But
I'm not screaming that, to be honest. I'm not. I don't know enough about it. That's the reason. If it literally upset the order and caused so much chaos that people started going, like mercenary armies and shit, and nuclear warheads and threats and assassinations, and I just don't want to. I don't know if that road necessarily needs to be traversed.
If it was guaranteed that World War III starts because of the Epstein files, would you want them released?
No.
So you would keep the Epstein files under lock and key to avoid World War III. Like Epstein files stay locked up, but World War III doesn't happen.
Yes. And anyone that says they would have World War III to know a little bit of data is a fucking psychopath.
I myself have said on my show that I would release the files, but I think you're right. I think if you genuinely believe that you would have to be a little psychotic, because look, the as things with Epstein are some of the worst things imaginable that a human could ever do. But to then say, yeah, all that stuff is bad and terrible, we need to know about it to the point that World War III starts. I I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah. Don't have to know everything. But there's no guarantee that it would start World War III. There isn't,
Right. It's
which is why people are like pushing it to the limit. It is shocking the way that administration, particularly Donald Trump, has just like heel kicked, turned, stomped, and just like 180, a 180. I don't know if he particularly in his campaigning was like, I'm going to release the Epstein files. People around him were talking about it. I don't know if he.
Well, so I've played a video on my channel talking about it when all this stuff started happening, and he actually was campaigning on it. He himself had made multiple comments about releasing it. There was an interview which was funny because it was an interview with Fox News. There's three people, and Pete Hegseth were one of the people asking the questions at the time. And one of the questions they asked him were the files that he would declassify as president. And they went through the list. They went through RFK, MLK, 9/11, and then they got to Epstein. And he said that he would release the Epstein files directly. But if you look at the full clip, he did kind of obfuscate it a little bit because he's like, well, it depends because there's some fake stuff in there. And even then, he was saying that there's stuff that was doctored in those files. So he's actually been quite consistent. I just don't agree with him.
Yeah, and I think Tim made a good point yesterday or a couple days ago that he could lie. They could have released a fake list just to shut people up, and he didn't. They didn't, because he's he's a relatively ethical guy. Say what you want. Nobody in huge positions of power like that is purely a saint, but I think he's not the kind of guy that wants to create more lies. He just wants this thing to fucking die, this whole Epstein scandal, for some reason or another. But he doesn't seem like he wants to do more deceit to put it away, which I find commendable. Honestly.
Yeah, I just think the way that he's handling his responses have just been terrible. Whoever's been putting out his Truth Social post or typing those out for him, or if it's just him doing it, and whoever's in his ear needs to shut up or needs to tell him to stop. Because I've said this on my show as well. It would have been better if they just kicked the can down the road and not have said anything, honestly. Like, we're working on it. We'll get it to you as soon as possible, and they just kept kicking the can down the road. It would have been a better. There would have been a better response.
Or been like, the files have been destroyed. We have no. I don't know, but then. Sorry, I interrupted you. What you were gonna say?
To add to what you're saying, if what they said is that the files were destroyed, then the reason they didn't do that is because then people would be like, okay, well, if you know that they were destroyed, where's the proof they were destroyed?
Yeah, and maybe they weren't destroyed.
Well, because that's what I've said, because in one of Trump's Truth Social posts recently, he outright said that a lot of the Epstein file stuff was doctored, and then he names names. And I'm like, okay, so if we know stuff is doctored, prove that it was doctored. And then if you can name the names of those who doctored it, prove how they doctored it. It's
another issue I got with this Epstein narrative is the word pedophile. How people will say that he had a ring, a pedophilia ring. Now, okay, there's just two different. When I think of that, there are two different realities here. There are people that engage in sexual perversion with like young people, like 5, 6, 5. Like, that is the sickest shit. That is the definition of pedophilia in my eyes. When I think of that sick behavior, that's that vicious, probably one of the grossest crimes of humanity you could ever accomplish.
It's the one crime that even criminals won't let you get away with.
Oh yeah. Someone like that goes to prison. Notoriously, they'll get beat up or killed in prison. People that do that. But then there's 30, 40-year-olds that have sex with 17-year-old girls or 15-year-old girls. Age of consent's 14 in some countries. That's not pedophilia. Legally, it is. Legally, it's rape, which is if you know what vicious, violent rape is, that is a completely different crime than a 26-year-old having sex with a 17-year-old girl consensually. That is, you might use that same term, but we got to not soften the word pedophile, because that Epstein ring is a blackmail ring. But I don't think that those people were like, got to get those little children. They were like, they were into hot girls, and he was bringing 15 or 16-year-olds along. I don't know how young they were getting. I have not heard any evidence that there were 9-year-olds that they were doing the sick shit. I haven't heard any of that. So I want to be clear about that. That's how I feel on that anyway. The whole pedophilia, because I've heard the people calling it a pedophilia ring, and it makes no sense to me.
Well, you're absolutely right about everything you just said, and to add to what you're saying, because a lot of people misuse the word pedophile, even beyond what you were just saying. The word pedo specifically refers to prepubescent children. So someone that is attracted to someone who's still a minor but is a teenager, that's a separate category. That's not pedophile. It's still a disgusting person, but pedophiles are specifically for prepubescent.
Thank you.
So a lot of people will call other people pedophiles for, like you said, 14-year-olds. That person is still disgusting, but that's not it's separate. It's a separate category. Like you said, let's not lessen the meaning of the word.
Awesome.
And anyway,